Is it running?
Must be running.
Oh, it is running. Oh crap. So I'm battered. I didn't do anything. That's a lie. I went for a walk. I listened to a cool song. I have a cat. I tried making the video outside, but there was so much noise there in the video. I made the video, but the video is pretty much unwatchable, sadly, because there were some entertaining things there. My upcoming trip, the flight, was rescheduled yesterday 2 times. And it had already been rescheduled before, so I'm looking forward to this. I want to do couch surfing on this trip, so now I have to rearrange everything. And I've been in communication with like 40 people already. So this is glorious. But the purpose of this video is to talk about an epic battle that I'm fighting on behalf of autism with the neurotypical brains of the world. In one of the previous videos about the special interests, I was talking, and the information that I have, it all came together in my mind, and I said, and I quote, "My father is autistic." So, since I understood I was autistic, I have another cat. I have 2 cats. This is the second cat. Hello. Oh no, she doesn't want to. Okay, you don't have to. Since that point in time when I realized I was autistic, I've been mostly thinking about my mother, involuntarily. Some things would just pop up in my mind, like, oh, she does that thing. Could it be an autism sign? And could be that, and maybe that, and maybe that. It's an unpleasant process, and it doesn't lead me anywhere nice, apart from, it leads me into this area where there are a lot of explanations, multiple explanations for one thing, and everything is confusing, and ultimately it's a shutdown. But I haven't had that one yet because of that. But I couldn't come to a conclusion. I think I want to talk about it separately. But anyway, I have been mostly, sometimes, like several times, I have thought about my mother, because I must have gotten this thing, this little gift of mine from someone. So might be my mother, might be my father, or might be someone else. And if it's someone else, I have no way of finding out. But in the video, while talking, I realized that damn, it can be my father. It is my father. So this realization felt differently from that drowning in a moor kind of thinking that I have had about things my mother does. It felt more like the way it felt for me to realize that I'm autistic. So, the background information about my father. My father, I haven't seen him for 27 years. I mostly had contact with him up until I was 7 years old, and some of that time was missing. There was a gap. And then I had several meetings with him between the time when I was 7 and then up to 10. So since 10 years old, I haven't seen or heard, or I have no information after that point in time. All the information I have about him is what I observed up until I was 7, mostly, and some stories that my mother told me. That's not enough data, that's not much data. I have much more on my mother, and it's all like, oh, more confusing. But, so my father is a programmer. Very old school, I would guess, programmer, because he's old. He's like old, he's 74 now. So like 30 years ago, he was 44. He was a programmer, and that was the 90s. I don't know what he was doing then, but he was doing something. He kind of fits the very stereotypical image of a man with autism, because he looks nerdy. He's a programmer, very, I would say, a passionate programmer, so very involved in that. He studied hard sciences like physics, that sort of thing. He kind of gives the vibe of like a very smart, intellectual person, which is like, it's nothing. It's not a piece of data that I can use to make any conclusion apart from what it states. He studied, like, what is it in English? Physics of what? I'm tired. It's an interesting thing here. Yeah, my Wi-Fi decided. So like, physics of solid objects. He studied that. So this is a fact. This is all I can, this is all, like, the sole conclusion I can draw from the amount of data I have. But, so we have this kind of nerdy, sciencey fact. Then, what I realized in the video, we had like a big kind of audio system for cassettes and for vinyl, and he was doing something with it. It wasn't just there because like, oh, we have money or something, or because like everyone had it. He was recording shit. And I know that because he recorded stuff for me, like children's stories and music. I would get that from him, I guess. And then also the VHS cassettes. So that, and also he had like a video cat. Like a video, like a camcorder that he got. I think where I lived, those were like a pretty new thing when he got that. So this is more interesting for me because there is this vibe, an unusual kind of level of engagement with this thing. Apart from that, that's like number 2 of what I found in my brain that might have contributed to my aha moment. My mother told me things about him. So, he was so smart and he tried to teach me this, but I'm dumb, I didn't listen. And now it's too late and things like that. She told me about his other activities, and that's a very peculiar assortment of things. He played guitar and sang. He did Eastern martial arts, which was he's fucking autistic. Like, it was frowned upon at that time period when he was doing that, if I'm not mistaking something, which I could be, but anyway, my memory is all I have. And he kind of organized that club for people to do Eastern martial arts in the fucking early 80s. He oh, now I keep forgetting things. There was something else, but already, like being into physics and then programming, which was just starting, again, like a very new thing, where they lived at the time. And he, like, from what I know, from what my mother told me, he just jumped into it. He was very passionate about it. Then this recording thing, and the playing of the guitar and singing, and then the martial arts, and also wacky things. So this one, it's interesting because I wouldn't, like myself, I wouldn't have said that this is like a common autistic interest or something that it has any meaning, but I've been watching people talking, I've been watching autistic people talking, and this seems to happen. So he also got into religion, into Christianity, the Orthodox Christianity, kind of early, like 10-15 years before general population got into that too. And some other kind of wacky spiritual things. And this assortment feels autistic to me. So this was what I had in my brain, what I realized that I had in my brain. Maybe I had something else at that time, and it kind of connected into this, oh, he's autistic. Later that day, when I went to bed, I thought about it a bit more, and I remembered a very peculiar thing. I really want to place it somewhere because this is very unusual. I don't remember verbally communicating with him. I don't remember any words he ever said. I remember a few conversations we had, and I remember the information that he gave me, but I don't remember the phrases. One was about, he was doing something on his computer, and I was curious, like, what are you doing? I remember I kind of remember what I was asking. And he said something about viruses. He was doing, maybe he was removing a virus. And that is like 93, where the virus is already invented. And I remember like being very happy about, hey, my father is like, I thought a virus is like a cat. And also he was making a call. I guess I remember that he gave me that information. He was making a call to someone in a completely different country. I don't know how that could have happened. I don't have any knowledge. 1993 or something. 1994 maybe. So remember that conversation. And another one was he had a very poor eyesight, like practically blind. And he had like the glasses that, like his whole face was glasses and a beard, very thick glasses, and his eyes looked like dots in there behind the glass. So I was curious and I asked him like, do you see without the glasses? And I don't remember the phrasing, but I understood that he only saw like blotches of color without the glasses, and that's it. I don't remember his words, and I remember a lot of things people told me. My memory of that period of my childhood is mostly like the phrases that people told me. Most of them kind of unpleasant or confusing or kind of irritating. Intrusive. They don't make any sense to me. They are, what is it? Like a foreign object, a foreign body in my world. But then I kept thinking, well, in bed, we lived together for 7 years. We must have communicated somehow. And I remembered like places where we were together with my father, like what we must have been doing. I don't remember anything he has ever said. And that is very interesting for me, because this is all very hypothetical. But kind of feels like whatever he was saying, I didn't experience as intrusions, as something breaking my world, my kind of like the picture that I had of the world. Now that is interesting, but I don't know where to put it. Maybe it's just so happened. The other thing is that he was kind of withdrawn. We had a lot of things happening when I was a child. There were a lot of kind of like events that we had at our house. the celebrations of like holidays, there were some ideas behind it, and just other things. Someone was very invested in what was happening in that house, and it's not my mother. Because when we moved to another country with her, that shit stopped completely. Maybe it was like a collaborative effort, I don't know, but a lot of stuff was happening. And again, I remember my interactions with other people, so with my mother and with my stepsister and with her mother. I don't remember my father being like present. He was there, but I don't know what he was fucking doing. As if he was somewhere else, kind of like stepping aside. And I remember very vaguely a room. So I think he had a room with a computer. And I don't know, the image that I have now is kind of that he was like a bit on the outside of the experience that the other members of the family were sharing. I remember also one trip. And I remember the photographs that were taken there because he was also into taking pictures. He kind of he was there, but a bit separately. It's a weird sensation there. And everything is silent. So, this is I think all I've got, apart from some stories my mom told me, but hard to think about them. Like, she has an interpretation, I have an interpretation, and everything is strange. But, because I had that explosion of like, shit, he's autistic, I wanted to explore that. So first I went into my memory, and I don't have much there. This is not enough data for me to form any opinion. I mean, my brain formed an opinion, but I don't necessarily agree with it. I need something else. I need more. But the thing is, my father is 74 years old, and he lives in a country which is currently at war because it had been attacked by the neighboring country. By a neighboring country, So before my realization, sometimes people ask me about my family, and it's just, this is gone now. There is no way to contact him, and I don't really want to. But because I am now on a fucking quest, I thought, okay, let me try this. I will try to find my father. The situation with my father and my sister is that my father and my mother got divorced. He married another woman and they had a child, And by the time they had a child, he had contacted my mother and said that he'd been missing me. So can we live kind of like side by side? My mother had bought a property in like this tiny village. There was an old house where we lived with her, and my father built another separate house on that property for them to live there too. So I had a sister for about 3 years. I had a sister, and she's not 74. She's younger than me, and she has some social media presence. By which I mean 3 abandoned profiles. But anyway, I found her. I wrote to her. Was very hyped, of course, because I'm on a quest now. Like, I want to figure it out. I need to ask my father a few questions. Like, do you want to line things up? Have you ever experienced this? Can you lie? Or is it very difficult for you? Do you just trust everyone? Do you like making lists? Things like that. Or those peculiar interests of yours. Can you tell me about them? Can you talk about each one for hours? Yeah, okay. So I want to do that. So I contacted my stepsister. Let me see how much time I have. Okay, we're gonna move the camera. Yeah, I don't have time. I will make a separate one. This is all the background information that I have. Well, I will make the next one. I will start making the next one.